Ashen feels both startlingly familiar and original. A44's action RPG wears its Dark Souls-inspired identity proudly, delivering nearly identical mechanics and progression systems. A captivating open world and gorgeous art style, combined with charming minimalistic co-op with either a real person or an AI-controlled partner, elevates Ashen to more than just a Dark Souls clone.
We must find the Ashen and protect it from the Elder Dark.
Ashen tells the standard but well-written story of a battle between light and dark, heightened by solid vocal performances. The eponymous god, a large, radiant bird, disappeared years ago, sending the world into a bleak period of darkness. The heart of it comes from the environments you explore and the people you meet, and their mixture of hope and despair as they await the return of the Ashen. As you begin to restore a normal semblance of life to this world, the beauty of what was once lost in darkness becomes even clearer. Though understated in its delivery, it's a stirring, atmospheric tale. Like other games of this growing subgenre, Ashen shamelessly borrows the major trappings of Dark Souls. Not only is the combat weighty and methodical, but it uses the same controls for light and heavy attacks, taking into account your stamina meter. It relies on close-range combat with single-handed or two-handed weapons and the all-important dodge roll. Instead of the Estus Flask, you get the functionally identical Crimson Gourd, and bonfires are replaced by ritual stones. It feels like Dark Souls in motion, and that's not a bad thing. But Ashen peeks out of the shadows and spreads its wings by adding its own flavor. The main way it does this is with its open world and cartoonish art style, which are less about forcing you into dangerous corridors and more about welcoming you to marvel and explore its diverse and perilous environments. When you emerge into the newfound light for the first time, you're greeted by rocky terrain split up by patches of grass, trees, the soothing current of a calm river, and crumbling stone buildings. Much later, you stumble into a majestic ancient city at the foot of a towering castle, shimmering beneath the sunlight. But the tussle between light and darkness is reflected in the world design, and the darker side is just as striking. Quests take you to a frigid, snow-covered area beset with a thin fog that's filled with oversized spider monstrosities waiting to claw out from beneath the surface. Spirits screech in the darkness of caves, beckoning you to inch closer to their calls, only so they can jump on top of you and beat the life from your body. The remnants of a beautiful world remain beneath and around the imposing darkness. Your progress through the 20-hour story is shown by your camp, Vagrant's Rest, which grows from a makeshift site with a few tents into a bustling community with homes, buildings, crafting stations, and plenty of folks anxiously awaiting the return of the Ashen. It's always neat to see a new addition to a building or a fresh face after returning from a quest. Those NPCs also help you on your journey because one NPC fights alongside you by default. But they might be real people too, because sometimes your companions will be replaced at ritual stones by other players. With a competent AI and no identifying markers or voice chat, it's not always clear which is which until they start behaving in unexpected ways. The ambiguity of it makes keeping an eye on your companion rewarding. Though having a companion by your side makes Ashen easier than Dark Souls, it's by no means a breeze. Enemy AI is diverse and punishing from the very beginning. In fact, nowhere is careful play required more than in the few dungeons leading to boss fights. Darkened hallways with lurking enemies at every turn and haunted ice skeletons waiting to come to life force you to move slowly and pay close attention to your surroundings. Although Ashen only contains 5 true boss fights, each one is an epic and daunting task that emphasizes uncovering weaknesses. Ashen takes liberally from Dark Souls when it comes to combat and progression, but it's a very good approximation, delivering satisfying, strategic combat and progression that rewards careful play. Thanks to a gorgeous and varied open world and neat, passive, cooperative gameplay, Ashen comes into its own wonderfully. For more on Dark Souls games, check out our review of Dark Souls Remastered for Switch, an epic Dark Souls 3 speedrun, and 15 unforgettable moments from the series. And for everything else, stick with us right here at IGN.